Hi everyone, this is Miss Riley and you're about to watch a video on adjectives. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to recognize what an adjective is and how to change the spelling of adjectives according to the nouns that they describe. First, let's start with what an adjective is. Remember that an adjective is a word that describes another noun. So I've given you some examples here. All of the words that are underlined are adjectives. Miss Riley is a difficult teacher. Difficult is describing what kind of teacher she is. The rooms are really dark. Dark is describing the rooms. In Spanish, there are going to be a couple of differences in how you write adjectives than in English. First difference is that you are going to change the spelling of an adjective to reflect the number. Number means whether the noun is singular or plural, whether it's one thing or more than one thing. Look at this example here in English. I've got this apple is delicious. Apple meaning one apple. And then over here, the apples, more than one, are delicious. Notice how in English, delicious is spelled exactly the same. There is no change in spelling, even though up here I'm talking about one apple and over here I'm talking about more than one. In Spanish, there will be a change in the spelling of the adjective. Your second difference is that you're going to change the spelling according to if the noun is masculine or feminine. And if you're confused about what I'm talking about by masculine and feminine, or how you know if a noun is masculine or feminine, then go back and look at the notes for masculine and feminine nouns that are in the content area in E-class. So a neutral adjective is basically going to be an adjective whose spelling it has not been changed. I have not changed the spelling of it so that it agrees with what it's describing. It's always going to look singular, so it will never have S's on the end of it, and it's always going to be in the masculine form. And here's some examples. This is the base form of the adjective that you're always going to get on quizzes and tests. Let's go ahead and start. We're going to start with adjectives that in its neutral state are going to end in an O. So if I have adjectives that end in an O, and I have a singular feminine noun, I'm changing the O to an A. Look at my examples. Here's the neutral form of the adjective pretty, bonito. But I want to say the girl is pretty. So la chica bonita. I have changed the O to an A. Una profesora buena. And notice too how it kind of rhymes. My indefinite article ends in an A, my noun ends in an A, my adjective ends in an A. And if you go back and read the notes on masculine and feminine, remember that that most nouns that end in A are going to be feminine, but not all of them. La manzana deliciosa. Again, I've got all A's. Mi madre talentosa ends in an A. Notice too that none of these have S's on the ends of them because my nouns are all just one thing. But now, if I have more than one feminine noun, then I am going to add an S. So now I've got las chicas, so more than one girl, and then bonitas. I still have an A here. The A is because my nouns are still feminine, But now I also have an S to reflect that it's describing something plural. Unas profesoras buenas. Notice all those S's. Las manzanas deliciosas. And everything kind of rhymes too. Mis madres talentosas. If I have a singular masculine noun, then the spelling doesn't change because remember, that's the form of my neutral adjective anyway. So I have el profesor, that's masculine, I can tell because of the L. It's singular, it's only one thing. So bueno, the spelling doesn't change. Okay? Now if it's masculine and plural, then I'm going to add an S. So I've got los profesores buenos. Again, notice all of my S's. Mis padres talentosos. Unos chicos estudiosos. All S's. Now, let's say that I have an adjective that ends in a consonant. Remember, a consonant is any letter that's not A, E, I, O, or U. And then I have down here also other than door. So other than adjectives that end in D-O-R, we're going to talk about those a little later. Here's some examples of adjectives that end in a consonant. Fácil, which means easy, and difícil, which means difficult. Both of these adjectives, all adjectives that end in a consonant other than DOR, are already going to be both feminine and masculine. That means that I don't have to change the spelling to agree with gender. I do, however, have to add an S to make it plural. So I've got la clase, that's one class, fácil. Notice that it does not change because it's already feminine. But now if I have more than one class, I'm adding an ES. Okay, and I'm adding the E because it ends in a consonant. El profesor, this time I have a masculine noun, but notice that the spelling doesn't change because, again, these are both masculine and feminine. But now that I have a plural masculine form, I'm adding S's. So hopefully you're starting to notice that anytime you have a plural noun, you are adding an S to your adjective, always. For adjectives that end in an E, here are examples of those. Inteligente, impaciente, paciente, sociable. All of these, again, are already both masculine and feminine. So just like these, they're both masculine and feminine. I'm not changing the spelling according to gender. I am, however, adding an S to make it plural. Now, since these already end in an E, I don't have to add an ES like I do for these adjectives. I just need to add an S. So here's an example. La chica inteligente. This is singular and feminine. I don't change the spelling. But las chicas inteligentes. I'm adding my S's. El profesor sociable. I don't change the spelling. Los profesores sociables. I'm adding my S's. Adjectives that end in D-O-R, like trabajador, here's that D-O-R. Hablador, here's that D-O-R. This means hardworking. This means talkative. I'm going to add an A for singular feminine nouns. So Clarisa es trabajadora. Clarisa is singular, it's just one girl. And then obviously she's a girl, so I'm adding an A. Mi madre, I just have one mother. Obviously a mother is a woman. Trabajadora. Add an AS, there's my S, for plural feminine nouns. So now I've got Clarisa y Ana. I've added another girl. Okay, so more than one girl. Here's my S, trabajadoras. Notice that I still have an A because both of these are still feminine. Mis hermanas, how do I know that this is feminine? Well, I could see with the A at the end of this noun because mis could be both masculine or feminine. So I'm going to look here. This is more than one sister, so I'm adding my S. Spelling doesn't change for singular masculine nouns, so Roberto es trabajador. Spelling stays the same. But I'm adding an ES for plural masculine nouns. So now I've got Roberto y Javier. I've added another boy. I've got my ES. Deportista is a little different. Deportista, which means sports-minded, is already both feminine and masculine, and I'm only adding an S to make it plural. So mi padre es deportista, Alana es deportista. This is a man, spelling stays the same. This is a girl, spelling stays the same. But now I've got two guys, all I'm doing is adding an S. Notice that the A still stays an A. Margarita y Catalina, I've got two girls, my A stays an A, and I'm just adding an S. Let's go ahead and do some practice. So you can do this on another sheet of paper, or you can do this practice out loud. But basically, I'm going to give you a noun and an adjective, and you are going to write or say the correctly spelled adjective. I've given you some questions that you can ask yourself before you do these. First question to ask is the noun singular or plural? Remember that basically if you have a plural noun, your adjective is going to end in an S every single time. Is your noun feminine or is it masculine? And then is there anything special about the adjective? So something like maybe the adjective ends in an E, and so therefore it's not going to change according to gender. Here's an example. I'm going to give you a noun like Sara and then a slash and then your adjective. And all you do is write or say out loud the correctly spelled adjective. So if I have Sara and then bueno, my adjective is going to be spelled like buena. This is what you should have. Okay? Here's my reason. Remember, because number one, Sarah's a girl. Obviously, this is a girl name. That makes her feminine. Okay? That's where I'm getting the A from. The base adjective, the neutral adjective ends in an O, so I change the O to an A. There are no S's at the end because this is just one person. All right? So let's go ahead and start. I've got 5 examples right here. If you need some time to think about these or to go back through the notes, then pause the video, look over the notes again, and then come back and write your answers down so that you can check them. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and click the answers. So, los estudiantes estudió sos. This is plural. I've got S's. So I need an S. And this is masculine. How do I know it's masculine? Look at my los. Los will automatically tell me, your article should tell you whether your noun is masculine or feminine. La abogada, I've got trabajadora. This is an adjective that ends in D-O-R. This is one thing. I don't have any S's, so there are no S's on my adjective. How do I know that this is a feminine noun? Because of the la. So that's where I'm getting my A. Mi madre inteligente. It's just inteligente. It does not change. Number one, there are no S's. This is one mother. Number two, remember that adjectives that end in an E do not change gender. So the E just stays an E. That's where I'm getting the inteligente. Las animadoras serias. This is plural. I have my S's. So here's my S. And then this is a feminine noun. How do I know it's feminine? Look at the las. Okay, las tells me that this is feminine. And then last one, las clases fáciles. This is plural. I have S's, so I need my S. And remember that this kind of adjective that ends in a consonant is already both masculine and feminine. So all I'm doing is adding an ES to make this plural. More practice. Go ahead, take a second or pause the video to write your answers down. Then we'll go through the answers. Let's go ahead and start. So I've got deportista. Remember that with deportista, it doesn't matter if I'm a man or a woman, and just saying I could be anyone, because deportista is already both masculine and feminine. So the only thing that I'm really worried about is this singular or plural, and it clearly is singular, so that's why there are no S's at the end of here. Michelle y Laura, graciosas. I've got 2 girls. Both of these obviously are girls. So because they're girls, here's my A, that's feminine, and then an S because it's more than one girl. Lucia y yo, and then I have here, I'm a boy. Atrevidos. Number 1, Lucia and I is 2 people. That's more than one person. That's where my S is coming from. And then since I put here that I'm a boy, even though Lucia is a girl, remember that when you add one masculine thing to a group of girls, everything becomes masculine. 2 more. Los exámenes largos. Plural. Here's my S's. Here's my S. And then this is masculine, I can tell because of the los. So my O stays an O. And then ella, interesante. This is one girl, so I have no S's. And interesante ends in an E, which is already feminine, so I'm keeping my E. There you go. There's your practice. Go ahead and do this again if you need a little bit of extra help, or go ahead and start on your homework.